Well, hello there, jazz guitar fans. I'm Mike Hayes, back with more fretboard adventures. Well, today's video will be the start of what eventually will become a series on how to apply the Barry Harris style thinking to the music you play every day. We get a lot of questions about this. How do we apply the Barry Harris method to songs? Well, today we're going to start with a very common standard chord progression, one that I'm sure you will recognise, and we're going to look at ways where we can apply the Barry Harris method to make the chord progression a little bit more interesting and to give it your own personal touch. So without any further ado, let's get cracking. In today's session, we're going to use a basic chord template that forms the background for many jazz tunes. In fact, the first 4 bars of this chord progression make up the first 4 bars of tunes such as Misty, The Nearness of You, Do Nothing Till You Hear From Me, If I Had You, and many other tunes. And it's these first 4 bars that we'll be focusing on, where we'll be reviewing and applying several of the Barry Harris concepts that we've covered in previous lessons, in addition to some new applications that we'll be presenting in this video. The first concept we'll be discussing is the borrowed note concept. Now, I'll be applying this borrowed note idea in bars 1 and 3 of the chord progression. So let's jump in and see how this works. I'm going to begin with the C6 chord, and as we know, when we harmonise a C major 6 diminished scale, we end up with 2 chords, C sixth and B diminished 7th. The idea behind this borrowed note concept is that if we're playing a C sixth chord, we can borrow a note or combination of notes from the B diminished 7th chord. So you'll see on the screen at the moment a C sixth chord indicated by blue dots and a nearby B diminished 7th chord indicated with red dots. Now in this next example, I have my C6 chord with 1 borrowed note from the B diminished chord. Many of you will recognise this chord as a C major 7th chord, which of course it is. However, the way I'm thinking about it is that it really is a C6 chord with a borrowed note. Okay, here's another example. Once again, C6. This time we're borrowing 2 notes from the B diminished 7th chord. And once again, you'll probably recognise this chord as a G6 or maybe an E minor 7th chord. And this is the chord movement that I'll be using in bars 1 and 3. And now we arrive at the second bar, the C dominant 7th chord. And this is the bar that we'll be focusing most on for the rest of the video. How to create different substitutions and variations on the dominant 7th chord. In this first example, I'm going to be playing a G minor 6th in place of the C 7th. And the concept behind this is that you can play a minor 6th on the 5th. In this example, we have a C7 chord. The 5th of C7 is G, therefore I can play a G minor 6th chord. And the result of this combination is that we create the effect of a C dominant 9th chord. So by now you're probably thinking, why go through all this jiggery-pokery, Mike? Why don't we just play a C 7th chord? And of course you can, and it works really well. However, when we think like that, essentially we're limited to playing different inversions of the C 7th chord, which of course sounds just fine. However, when I consider the concept of playing G minor 6th for this chord, I can use all the chords in the G minor 6th diminished scale, which of course would be G minor 6 and F sharp diminished. I think the best idea here is to give you a listen to some examples. So let's start with our first example. I'm playing through this chord progression using the movement on the major chords in bars 1 and 3, and in bar 2 I'm using the G minor 6th concept in place of the C dominant 7th chord. Here goes. Now if you like that concept and you'd like to practice the G minor 6th diminished scale, here it is for you to practice. Okay, back to our original chord progression. This time in bar 2 I'm playing a B flat 6 chord. The concept behind this is that when I play a major 6th on the 7th of the chord, the resultant sound is a dominant 7th sus4. So our original chord is C7, the 7th of C7 is B flat, therefore I can play B flat 6th. And then I can move between chords from the B flat major 6th diminished scale. Let's have a listen to that. And now here is the B flat major 6th diminished scale in case you want to review or practice that scale. Okay, back to our original progression. This time I'm going to play a B flat minor 6th in place of the C7. The concept behind that is that I can play a minor 6th on the 7th. Once again, our original chord is C7th. The 7th of C7th is B flat. Therefore, I can play B flat minor 6th as a substitute or variation of the C7th chord. The resultant effect of playing the B flat minor 6th chord as a variation of the C7 is that of a dominant 7th sus4 flat 9. So the effect that I'm creating here is a C7th sus4 flat 9. And also keep in mind that when we think like this, we can move freely between chords in the B flat minor 6th diminished scale. Let's have a listen to that. Here's the B flat minor 6th diminished scale for you to practice. Okay, let's do one more. So back to our original chord progression. This time in the C7th bar, I'm going to play a D flat minor 6. The concept behind that is that I can play a minor 6th on the flat 2 of a chord. When I do that, it creates the effect of a dominant 7th altered chord, which essentially would be a sharp 5 flat 9 type chord. So when I'm playing a D flat minor 6 as a variation of the C7th chord, I'm producing the sound of a C7th altered chord. And also don't forget to keep in mind that we can create movement by playing chords from the D flat minor 6 diminished scale. Let's have a listen. And here's D flat minor 6 diminished scale for you to practice with. Well, that's it for today, folks. I do hope you enjoyed the lesson, and I hope there's something in this lesson that'll help you develop your own musical style on guitar. If you enjoyed this session and felt you got some value out of it and you'd like to support this channel, there's a link in the description below this video. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on all the good stuff, and if you like this video, don't forget to give us a like. It really helps us out. Until next time, all the very best with your guitar playing. Bye for now.